Good morning. It's Harvey Jackson from Producer Profit. Just going to run through some of the data that we have here. Most notable is the producer price index that came out yesterday. But we'll get to that in a moment. Moosomin, next Tuesday, we're having a meeting at the Legion Hall, 710 Main Street on Moosomin, 2 to 5. It might be a little bit shorter than that, depending on how interactive it is, but we'll see and hope to see you there. Same thing in Steenan on Wednesday, 2 to 5 at Rawhide's Bistro and Saloon there. So first off, I always get questions on fertilizer, so I just pulled this from StoneX, and you can see that the prices are in that 300 and some cents range, and a month later, earlier, it was about the same kind of pricing. But what they were demonstrating here is the prices and I just don't know exactly the scale, but it's almost the exact same prices of the corn versus the current prices. So the red is the current fertilizer prices, how it's been tracked, and this is the corn price. So you can see that this majority of the trades are basically flat with some fluctuations, and the futures haven't done anything. But conversely, when you see the NOLA DAP, so your FOS pricing, you're actually getting to the top end of the range here, closer to the fertilizer pricing. So this is just suggesting to me that the phosphate price is pretty high and remains that way. Into some of the commodity markets, palm oil down again this morning, and we'll see that later on in the chart here as well. So here we are, kind of making a downward little bit of a trend here. Now, will it continue that trend as supplies continue to tighten? No real news that came out. So Canada's food inflation, food prices are the biggest one that's actually been the inflationary measure. So this is the part that I'm going to maybe point out right here. It says for most of the past 3 years, grocery bills for Canadians were rising in line with those of the US, but a gap has opened up lately, now 20.3% versus 16.1%, and posted by the BMO. So what does this look like when we get into the actual data? So here's your CPI index. So October was a 1.6%. And then I dove into provinces. Province of Manitoba is at 1.1, so it's the lowest and maybe one of the lowest of all of the provinces. But yeah, whether that's a significance here, it just breaks out exactly what their measures are, and they do show food as being one of the largest increasing, along with shelter. And this is just showing you which ones increased, which ones lost. So you got food, shelter, and health, personal health care, and alcohol beverages all increased. So let's just get into the market here. Everything is pretty well down. We got 680 down on canola, so that would have broke some support levels. Rapeseed down about the same kind of value in euros. Soybean oil down another close to 7.7 cents of a pound. Palm oil, as stated before, down at 2% at 0.98 ringgit. Crude oil is actually up a little wee bit, and soybean and wheats are all down. Canadian dollar down just a hair as well, as we spoke. So if you look at canola, so just zoomed out view, this is the breakout or fall below the previous lows just in the very short term that got made. And this is what it looks like on the March. So we fell below the trigger, and with the expectation it was going to go there, we got knocked out and kind of sitting on the sidelines on that trade now. So rapeseed down today, as I stated earlier. What does that look like when we look at the rapeseed price in US or Canadian dollars? So what I have is Feb European rapeseed minus the Canadian canola priced in US dollars, and it's 165. So going in this upward channel and making more highs. So when you look at the veg oil, I had this channel in for a while. We broke through that channel and trading at the 200-day moving average. I'm below it. So if that 200-day moving average indicator is going to hold, we'd like to see it turn a little bit green today and get above that. Crude oil, last 3 days has been up, and we're trading at some of the nearby moving averages as well. So that's a good sign. But when we look at the soybean and how it's traded, and we've got these legs down, and looks like we're trying to bounce off some support here at some point. So here's your meal, and you would have said that this would have been a support line. But when you draw that in, right where the market is trading, you can see how long the market stays below. It's not below for very long at all. It tends to trade higher. So the main pricing component of crush margin is the meal, and we're still continuing to grind lower. Canadian dollar made this bounce. The CPI came out and gave us a little bit of a pause because there's still a high likelihood that there's going to be some additional rate uh, decreases in Canada that we might not have seen in the U.S. And that's basically how we're pricing. So here's your Canadian dollar with the longer lines, and we have traded below there, and I'm still showing the lines I put in there yesterday. Wheat, I'm just going to go zoom in, zoom out kind of thing. This is where we're currently traded. We've got this little blip up here, and that has allowed us to pick off some triggers with the lower Canadian dollar. So good basis levels that we've seen in the deferreds, and you look at this on the a bigger macro view for the last couple of years, and we're still not far from the bottom end of that trading range. Same thing with your Chicago wheat, and you zoom out your Chicago wheat again, uh, closer to the bottom of the trading range. Kansas, zoom out, same kind of thing. Milling wheat, uh, same kind of thing. Corn, on the other hand, looks like we're building in a little bit of a support here, uh, and that's what's showing up there. Now, can we get some stabilization there? Would be the question. Uh, Report in a couple of weeks for the stat scan is December 5th. And I'm not certain exactly how much weight I want to put on there. A lot of data is still not going to be in their hands at the time. So, yeah, I'm not confident that it's going to have a whole lot of upside, but hopefully there's some analysts in there that's going to come to their senses and actually realize how small that canola crop is. And just want to mention iFarm, Dean York, might be reaching out to you with some chem pricing that might interest you guys. And that's all I have for you today.